Hi, I'm Sandra. Welcome to Create in Spain. Have you ever tried to cut fabric with your electric cutter, your plotter? Anything reasonably soft like this is likely to give you some problems. And so I have done a little bit of experimentation and I have found a solution. Because if you put this directly onto your mat, the chances are it's going to stretch and give, and you're not going to be able to cut it that easily, okay? However, I have another piece of exactly the same fabric here, and this is a lot stiffer, a great deal stiffer. And the reason for that is because of this. This is a bottle of my homemade stiffener, and all it is 50% PVA glue and 50% water. Just put it into a bottle with a spray and you can use this quite easily to stiffen your fabric. Yesterday when I tried it out, what I did was I put the fabric on the mat and I sprayed it, turned it over, sprayed it again. This morning I did a bigger piece and I didn't even bother doing that. I've got a much larger piece of fabric here, and all I did was I screwed it up in my hand, basically just put it in my hand and just sprayed into my hand until it was saturated and just, you know, mixed it around a bit, and then I just hung it on the line to dry. It's quite warm here at the moment, so it didn't take very long. If you're in a real hurry, you could actually iron it. But if you're going to do that, I would suggest you protect both your ironing board and your iron by sandwiching it between some baking sheet. Baking paper, that is, not the metal sheets, baking paper. So that you don't get any of the PVA on your iron or your ironing board, because you probably don't want to do that. But the piece I put out to dry, as you can see, it's fairly flat anyway. It's not really going to be a problem by the time I smooth that down onto the mat. So here is what I use as a cutting mat, and all I would do is place it down like that and get a roller and brayer it to the mat. And I have cut this fabric very successfully. And on my silver bullet, I think it was a force of about 15 maybe, something like that. And that's not even with a brand new sharp blade. That's with a fairly dull old one. And as you can see, that stuck pretty nicely to the mat. It's nice and flat, no bubbles in it, and it's not going to move anywhere. But it is stiff enough so that when you've cut your shapes, you can remove the excess and you can peel the shapes off the mat without it coming to pieces. And I've got some little swatches that I cut out the other day, and I'm just going to stand up to just check that you can actually see these, that it's going to focus. Hopefully it is. They're perfectly cut. Okay, so there's no problem. Now the other thing that you may not have considered doing is cutting napkins. Again, something that you cannot do normally with a napkin. However, it's quite possible by using pretty much the same method, only in this case you would take your very top patterned layer of the napkin, since that's the bit you probably want, the pattern layer. Take it apart, so you've just got that one layer, put it onto a plastic mat or something that you're not worried about getting sticky, at least, that you can clean off, and use the spray and just spray it all over until it is really soaked through. Now if you're very, very careful, you'll be able to lift it up and turn it over and then spray the other side. But if you don't want to do that, just make sure you give it a thorough soaking from one side and then leave it to dry. And when it's dried, it will be nice and stiff. And these pieces, the same as the fabric, I have cut out of the single layer of napkin. And it is nice and strong. It has the tensile strength now of something equivalent to your normal printer paper. and you can pull it and it's not going to break. If I'd have done that before I'd stiffened it, it would just have torn to shreds. So yeah, a quick little hint there on how to cut fabrics, and I hope that helps you, because those people who like doing applique and things like that quite often would want to use their cutting machines to cut the pieces, but sometimes they found it's just too much aggravation to do it, and that makes it relatively easy. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.